I want to talk about some real life experiences and guidelines and expectations for the kids. It's super duper important, and I can't stress it enough when your child arrives, that one of the very first things you do is sit down and establish some rules and guidelines and expectations, because I have found over the years that if things are not clearly set and everybody's assuming everything, it's not setting up anything for success. So the kids are looking forward to you establishing these rules, um, and that's what you should be doing. Most kids, I have another full-time job, so if I can get to the airport to see your student and greet them with you, why then that would be amazing, and I can see them and go through some things with you. However, that's not always realistic, that I can be there with you. So after you pick your student up for the airport, I will see them within 24 to 48 hours at your home, and I will review different things and make sure that you guys have went through guidelines and rules and expectations. I'll also talk about maybe some awkward things that are hard to talk about at times. Who's holding on to the money, different things like that, which shouldn't be awkward, but sometimes it is. Do they want hot lunch? Do they want cold lunch? Host families are expected to provide 3 meals a day for exchange students. However, in Wisconsin, we have a great hot lunch program, which a lot of kids like to take advantage of. If that's the case, they need to pay for that hot lunch themselves. But again, remembering that if they don't want to take hot lunch, that there is always food available that they could pack. So they will decide, I'll do hot lunch today or not, or always. They will be paying for that though. Again, I will come and make myself, introduce myself and give my contact information to your student within 24 to 48 hours, establish a relationship, make sure they know who I am and what my role is in their life. Different things that you need to go through with your student at the time of going through rules and expectations are different plumbing systems. In some other countries, they don't flush toilet paper or anything down the toilet. Because their septic system is not the same as ours. So going through that, toilet paper can go in the toilet, the shower curtain goes on the inside of the bathroom, establishing who will do the laundry. Do you want them to keep their clothes in a dirty basket for you to grab, or are you going to show them how to do the wash and have them keep up on that themselves? Each student, I think I explained to most of you, but just as a reminder, is expected to have access to at least $200 per month spending money. And that would be for different things, like in the beginning it'll go kind of fast, book fees and sports fees, Chromebook fees at registration, school supplies. You'll take them school supply shopping and they'll use their own money for all of that. In the future then, once things settle down, if they want to go to a movie or bowling with their friends, you're not expected to give them money for that. They use their own personal funds to pay for their movie ticket, their bowling. If you do go out to eat, kind of back to meals, sorry to be hopping around on that, but if you do go out to eat, maybe at a sit-down restaurant, it is expected that the host family do pay for that student to eat that meal, if that's what you're choosing to do and go out as a family. A different situation if the student would go to McDonald's with friends, right after school. You would not have to give them money to go to McDonald's after school. They could pay for their own food then, because they're choosing to do that as kind of a hangout thing. If you decide to go on vacation or even travel, cross state lines, and you're going to be missing some school, there is a travel form that you do need to fill out. I have to get approval from Portland, Maine, the main office, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But so that travel form, ask me for one. There's things that you need to sign and fill out, and then also the teachers and staff at school if there's going to be school missed. As far as paying for vacations, that's a question that comes up quite often. How the best way to work it is You know, if you take a huge vacation like Disney or a cruise or something like that, obviously you would ask your student, would you like to come with us, or would you like, you know, us to try to find a different place for you while we go on a family vacation? Most people want to take their student, and most students want to go along. That's not always the case though. So if that is the case, how I do it is I kind of write things out for their natural parents, like their airfare would be $300 round trip, their cruise fare would be, you know, $229 per night, and different things like that. So they would be expected to pay for their travel with you, them, or their natural parents, if you decide that you want to invite them along on your family vacation. I would, of course, need a travel form for that and have to approve it as well. Each child, when they arrive, has a CIEE student ID. You can ask them to see it when you're sitting down and talking about rules and expectations. On the back side of it is their health insurance from CIEE. You can make a copy of that or keep that card in your wallet, whichever you desire. When you did get accepted to host and you got your students' full packet profile with all their letters and their grades and their health forms and things, you will notice in the back of the packet that there is a consent to treat form signed by their natural parents. Print that form off for sure. Keep a copy in your purse, your glove box, you know, all around, just in case if there were an emergency that you would be able to take that to the hospital and treat them, have them treated if necessary. Sorry. Okay. Need to adjust here a little bit. All right. Let's see. I can't really say that enough on that consent to treatment. Also, if you do need to take them to the doctor for anything, like their throat is sore, you feel like they have strep throat, their ears hurting, they've had a fever, please alert me to that, because I also have to copy in the main office and let them know that they are utilizing their insurance, and then we kind of follow up just to make sure everything is going okay. Also, if they need, if they plan on being in any sports, which a lot of exchange students do because it's a new thing and in their countries they don't offer things like that, their physical that they got to come here to the U.S. unfortunately doesn't work for our Wisconsin sports thing. It's not good enough. So you need to schedule them a sports physical, which the student needs to pay for. I would just call around to different places in your community and try to find the cheapest. Say you're calling for an exchange student to see how much a private pay physical would be. Some communities have them as low as $49. Others are like, oh, no discount, $189, you know, something like that. So I can try to help you with that as well and give you recommendations for different communities, but they will need to private pay for a sports physical. And on that note, again, all fees are paid for by the student. You know, if they do football and there's a football fee, or choir, they want a choir shirt, you know, that kind of thing. When you do go through the rules, one of the main things to hit is electronic devices and social media. That is a huge thing in this day and age. You need to establish with your kids, is it okay to bring your cell phone to the table, to the kitchen table when we eat, or the breakfast table, or is it not? Is it not appropriate? You know, should they leave it in their room? Tell them up front, because what happens is, if you don't, and they bring the phone, and you haven't really talked about that, and you're eating dinner, and they're looking down at their phone and texting, you start to get irritated, and usually you end up calling or texting me and saying, you know, all they do is look at their phone when they eat and they won't even interact with us. And then I say, well, did you establish that when, you know, in the beginning? Did you tell them that it's not appropriate to bring their phone to the table and that kind of thing? Oh, I guess we never, you know, we just thought that that would be like assumed. We can't really assume anything. The cultures are totally different. It's like black and white. So again, establish, you know, If you notice they're not getting a lot of sleep, are they on their phones all night? Is it maybe something that you need to say, you know, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to trust that you're off your phone and it's time for bed? Or, and do you trust your kid that way? Or, you know, do they need to turn it in at 10 o'clock so that they can get a good night's sleep? I've had families that don't allow their kids to use electronics before school in the morning because they feel like then they're always late for school and nobody's moving and they're just on their electronics. So no electronics until, you know, school or lunch, the first break of school or lunch hour, different things like that. So establish that all kids are aware as well that they must maintain at least a C+ average in all classes. Keep an eye on that as a parent, please. There's too many kids for me to log into everybody's grades and make sure that that's being done. So as parents, I'll be checking in with you and saying, you know, how's Sally doing in her classes? A lot of times there's an online site that you get from the high school where you can log in and check, are they missing assignments? Are they failing anything? Is something late? And so keep on top of that. It is known, because I have 4 teenagers myself, sometimes it shows as missing, but then I ask the kids and they say, well, the teacher, we did it, but they didn't grade it yet. So that's a very valid thing. Sometimes those teachers don't grade it, but just keep on top of that. And then if they're falling below a C+, we have to look into something like, do they need an easier class? Do they need a tutor? If they need a tutor, they need to private pay for that. And they and their natural parents are aware of that. So keep on top of that. Keep me posted on grades that fall below a C+ average. There are required classes that the kids must take on this program. And that is either a U.S. history or U.S. government class, a English class they have to take, and it doesn't have to be English 9, 10, 11, or 12. It could be, you know, American literature or drama and literature, you know, something English based, and the U.S. history. And then, I'm sorry, those are the only 2 required classes. And then if they're planning on their year here counting in their other country, you can ask each child to be different. Like some from Spain, yes, they want this year to count. Some from Germany, no, it won't count. So each child is different. Talk to them about that. Then they should take, if they want it to count, some core classes such as math, science, along with that. And then it's very fun for kids to come here on this experience and pick super cool electives, because that's something that's not offered really anywhere but America, and they're super excited about that. So help them pick some cool, fun electives as well. When they arrive with their cell phone, they will either come with a cell phone that works in this country and they've figured it out ahead of time, or they will come without a cell phone and need to go to the store like as soon as possible because they feel totally naked without a phone. So we don't allow the kids to go on your cell phone plans. It's just not a good practice. However, go to your, in your community, whatever's sort of known, Walmart or Target, they have prepaid phone plans. Boost Mobile has a prepaid phone plan. Sometimes they bring a phone and it doesn't work, and then they get the prepaid plan where then it works here in America. So do that with them. Of course, the student pays their phone in minutes and prepays for all their things they need, and usually they do that monthly. They can let you know, hey, I'm out of minutes, I need to run to Walmart, that kind of thing. Speaking of that, always establish when you're with your student, like when I have to have a pretty organized routine with 5 kids in my house. So every Saturday morning I do a Walmart run for food and different toiletries and things like that. And my students know that. So I tell them if they're low on personal items like deodorant or shampoo, toothpaste, that kind of thing, and they need it, they can feel free to come along with me that day, because then they need to pay for that stuff. So just if you're noticing that your student's never asking you for more toothpaste or never asking you for more shampoo, just put your mom and dad radar on and be like, how you doing on shampoo and soap, you know, kind of thing, so that you can take them. Sometimes their parents ship them packages and it has personal products in it, but just make sure then you know and you're aware. Again, you're treating these kids exactly like you would your own kids, and that is what their natural parents are expecting, what CIEE expects as for you as a host family. And again, of course, I trust each and every one of you that I've met and was able to, put in a good word like this would be an amazing family, because each and every one of you are super, super not selfish, and I so appreciate it. While you're talking about rules, also establish a curfew in friends. Sometimes in European countries, they're just shocked that we have curfews in America. They can't believe, that it would be normal to be home by 12:30 a.m. on a weekend, but it's kind of like welcome to America. I mean, we have rules here. There's sometimes city curfews that we need to abide by. Treat them like your own kids, as far as if they're going out with friends. I mean, know who those kids are, know how they drive, know how they interact. There is 3 Ds that these kids are drilled into, and I remind them of this as well. But no drinking, driving, or drugs. Any one of those 3 Ds is an immediate send home. There's no explanations, no buts, no what ifs. They know if they are caught doing any of those things that it is an immediate send home. Show them around, obviously, your kitchen and food items. Let them know if there's something like, these particular cookies here are gluten-free and they're only for Dad. Or this soda here is just Dad's soda that he drinks. But let them know and establish that up front. The rest of the food is a free-for-all. Go ahead and take what if you're hungry, eat. I'd like to get my kids, like, what's your favorite cereal? They didn't have cereal in their country, but then here they're like, oh, we love the, Reese's Puffs. So I'd always get that, easy breakfast, and they like it. Let's see here. I just wanted to also, take the time to thank each and every one of you guys for opening up your heart and your home and being vulnerable and taking these kids in. Kids, these students are not always extremely thankful at the time, and I try to remind them, and most of them are pretty thankful, but I try to remind them to really thank their host families and what the sacrifices that their host families are doing in order for them to come. But just know that, in the light of things, you are appreciated. We are very thankful for you. A foreign exchange wouldn't be obviously what it is without awesome host families. We appreciate you taking this leap of faith, putting yourself out there. I can assure you that there's going to be super duper duper good times, and there's going to be some bad times or some awkward times. But my prayer is that the amazing times and the amazing memories and the amazing connections that you'll make across the country will totally outweigh any awkward or bad times. I really feel like we all do this because obviously we have a heart. We have a passion for our country and to share that. We have a passion for culture and exchange. And each and every one of you are making a difference in these kids' lives. And sometimes it's not always right away that you get that big thank you. But just know that years down the line, when that teenager matures into an adult and they think about their high school experiences and how huge of a part of their life you were, it's totally worth it. Please remember that when these kids arrive, they're in a totally different country. They're scared, they're nervous, they think their English is bad. Sometimes it is bad, and it takes a couple weeks for their English to kind of get more dialogue. But just keep in mind that, they're teenagers and they're kids, and they're amazing, and they're emotional, and they're up and they're down, and you're with them every step of the way. You're their mom, you're their dad here in the States. You're their security, and you're their eyes that watch over them. And again, you are appreciated and loved, And I look forward to an awesome school year with all of you. And I can't wait till our kids start arriving shortly. Have a great night. After careful review of my previous video, I realized that I forgot a few key points that I want to point out for everybody. In the beginning of the program, within the first, I want to say 2 months, you will be contacted by another person, a third party, to do a follow-up visit at your house. This person just is a contractor, usually like a friend of mine, that comes by and makes sure that the bedroom is really the bedroom and that we're not hiding kids in closets, and kind of another pair of eyes just for safety reasons. So please respond to that person when she tries to set up a follow-up visit for you. Also, I forgot to mention, in Portland, Maine, each of the kids are assigned a support coordinator. They work full-time at CIEE. And they are support coordinators for our kids. They will also be checking in on the students via phone, email, text, or Facebook, and sometimes for families as well. If for some reason we have an escalated event or something that we're trying to work through together, a lot of times I will enable the help of the support coordinator in Portland, Maine, who does this for a full-time job, just to help us sort through some things and help with some communication issues. So I wanted to mention that they each also have a support coordinator assigned to them in Portland, Maine, who will also be in contact with the student. Also, sometimes the natural families want to visit the kids here in the States. That is not allowed to happen until after January 1st. And the other portion of that is that I need to know about it, and I have to get it approved with the main office, and then you have to also be in agreement with it. And we have to talk about accommodations and where they're staying in what hotel and how often they'll be with their student and things like that. So if that is the case and your student talks about their natural parents wanting to come and visit from their home country, please alert me right away. And again, it's not allowed at all prior to January 1st. Another key point that I missed is once your student gets here, the next step for you is to call the school guidance office and make an appointment with that guidance counselor to set up all the classes for the student. Each child is already enrolled at the school prior to coming here. I have taken care of all of that. But you still have to, a lot of times, go to registration and then pick classes with the guidance counselor. So that would be the next step for that. And let me just check my notes and make sure I got everything else here. Oh, one more point I wanted to make with exchange students that I have learned over the years firsthand is a lot of these kids are so used to telling their parents where they're going and what they're doing instead of asking their parents if they can, which we're a little bit more used to here in America. So just explain that to your student right off the bat that, you know, here in our household the rules are if you want to do something that it's courteous and appropriate to ask us as parents if that would be okay, not just tell us where you are or where you're going. Because a lot of times these kids are super independent and they just feel like, oh, well, I'll just let you know where I'm going. But maybe you know, we just want to say, no, you need to stay home tonight and focus on your school project or spend time with the family and that kind of thing. So again, establishing that up front, and sorry that I forgot these couple of things, but we'll see you all soon.